Everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be doing a full face of old favorites. Yes, I went through my collection. I found things that definitely took me back some years here on YouTube, and it's all products to create a full face. And I was just thinking about how, there's always new things coming out and what makes us move on truly from certain products, because there are some things we really once loved. And I mean, I even had somebody who was watching the Emily Awards this past year say in the face video, what happened to the It Cosmetics CC cream? And it just kind of made me think, yeah, I once upon a time did really love that product, but like why? What makes us move on? So I think it's really important to try, and I do try to do this, but it's hard, but try to think of the new products in the context of all the other stuff that you've tried, and how does it stack up? How does it compare? Are the new things coming out truly better, or are we just making a different choice? Are we just getting bored, perhaps? That's a good way to think about it. It's not always about, is the new product better, or are we just bored? And sometimes the older products come in, but not in a full face sense. Like I will still pull in and use an It Cosmetics CC cream or the Laura Mercier loose powder. Different things will like work their way in because I love shopping my stash. I love, if I'm not shooting a video about a specific thing on a certain day, I love diving into the older stuff. But to do a full face of it all, I think is really going to take us back and make us assess this look and say, is it just as good as some of the looks we turn out presently? It's just going to give us, I think, a renewed sense of context. So this is a total mix of drugstore and high-end, and with a lot of things, I'm not using the original first thing I ever had. For example, this Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I got this more recently, but I do remember Smashbox Photo Finish being the first primer I ever used, ever. I remember being back in the apartment. Pup had given me some Sephora stuff for Christmas, and one of the things was something called Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. It might have been a small size of it, I'm not sure, but she's like, yeah, this is a brand new thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then the texture of photo finish goes across your skin, and you're like, wow, that silkiness that it has. So I'm using that today. It does feel great. Sometimes we don't know the true value of a primer until the whole look is put together and we're a ways into the day, and you kind of see like, okay, did the primer have a positive impact on the wear of this look, given what I know the foundation to usually do? So far so good, and I already had my skincare on. Oh, and by the way, Belle did end up breaking a bone at the base of her thumb. Oh my gosh, something in my gut said, just take her to the doctor. They'll x-ray if they need to. They did. So I'm currently, as I shoot this on Thursday, hoping to hear back today from the orthopedic doctor about when she can get in to really be seen by them, and they can decide brace, cast, whatever. From what I've looked up, it's a pretty common type of fracture. She's got over a week, I would say, of healing already, not confined to a cast, but she's pretty much stayed off of it. Maybe they could factor that in. Okay, speaking of It Cosmetics CC cream, I thought I'd pull that into this look. This I have in the shade Light. I've gone through multiple tubes of this stuff over my makeup using Life. I think at one point I started out using the medium shade in this, but I think Light is definitely right for me right now. And when somebody was asking like, where did CC cream go? It kind of made me think like, where did the CC cream category go? And I think I was looking at It Cosmetics and really figuring that this is basically foundation. When you are talking about this product, but you have to put the asterisk on it that you would not wear it without moisturizer underneath, and you still wear your own SPF underneath it too. Like, what is this ultimately doing? It's giving you coverage. Yeah, a little moisture, yeah, some SPF 50, but it's not like it's this amazing standalone product. It's in a really rare category all its own. I guess my wisdom and age has given me that take on it. But I'm using my little Profusion buffing brush. This is going to give us beautiful coverage, that's one thing. Nice, even coverage. One full pump gives you a lot of this product. And of course they've got the various versions, the matte version, the illuminating. Let me know if this is something you're still using on a day-to-day basis. If any of these products really are something that's stuck with you, I'd love to know. Because not everybody has the experimental mentality with makeup that I do. Like my mom, for example, she's still using It Cosmetics CC cream. She really does not feel the need to bounce around the way I do. Like, oh, something new comes out, I'll try that. Like, makeup is my recreational entertainment fun time, and it's not that way for everybody. I'm all blended in. It blended in super smooth. No issues interacting with that Smashbox Photo Finish primer. I would say I have a solid medium coverage here. I can still see all my freckles through, but I'm nicely evened out overall, and I'm happy with the look. Next up, to pick out a concealer, I went with the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and this is the brightener shade. I also have the shade Fair in terms of like a skin tone color, but this is a product that I actually do work into my makeup on occasion. Like, it's not just sitting there totally unused all the time. I mean, I've majority of the way used up this tube of it, but it's got great brightness. I've always enjoyed the texture of an Age Rewind concealer. It's not too thick, but it's not so thin that it's not really giving you some coverage too. I'm gonna pull in my new little e.l.f. Tap and Blend brush and make this take up some space. I love this brightener shade. So we're talking like a light pinky brightener. So many products like this come out, you know, that are in this tone. And this one always is one my mind really goes back to. I think if you're doing really serious under eye correcting, I definitely think the e.l.f. putty color correcting under eye brightener stuff is going to be your most potent source of coverage for that. But this is a little thinner, lighter, but yet still covers super well, and it can be a standalone concealer for me. You can see I just kind of put it everywhere where I might use concealer. Spread it, and then taking a larger brush and dabbing it in. No complaints at all. Like, that looks fantastic. It is in my rotation and it should stay that way, as though I have a formal rotation. I just use what I want and I do try to mix it up on a regular basis. For powder, if we're talking old favorites, you gotta bring the old Laura Mercier translucent loose powder into the mix. Not the Ultra Blur, not the rosy toned one, just the original stuff. And I feel like I used this in a video recently, but now she's gonna get used in the context of all her other old friends. So I'm just gonna pick some of this up on a triangle powder puff. I remember there was a time, probably when this product was new to me, where I was not using a powder puff with it, and I was instead just kind of lightly dusting it up on my under eye area. And I also wasn't generally using as brightening of a shade as like under eye concealer. But we're just gonna dab this around. This always makes the skin look a bit more flawless. And think about it, it's going over things that had a little shine to them perhaps, and it's mattifying, and it's just kind of taking you toward that dull skin type of look. I'm just pressing it lightly everywhere, and then I will dust away my excess. Morphe Under Eye Bullet Brush, you know how we do, we just kind of work this around. Older products with current techniques, I think that's a fun concept too, and that's something you're gonna witness in this video as well. How tacky does the skin feel? A little tacky. I did pull an additional powder in, my friends. I grabbed MAC Fix Plus. Yes, I have repurchased MAC Fix Plus within the last several years. I have the shade C4 in this stuff now, and I remember starting at the TV station. So my earliest time there was like late 2006, and I remembered paying attention to what like the anchors were using as they got ready at the big like makeup mirror area where everybody kind of came together. Many of them would come into the station barefaced and then put together their look entirely in just a matter of minutes before going on the air. And I remembered seeing people having their MAC, and I also remember I might have vlogged it. I documented it somehow for my YouTube channel. So this was probably like a whole year after my realization that a lot of people are using MAC. And I remember Bub and I going to the MAC counter for the first time. It was the Fairview Heights Mall, and I think they had their own freestanding MAC store, and that's where I went into first. And I just remember being thrilled when I left there. Like, I just did that. I just bought my first ever MAC makeup. It can be that mattifying full coverage, but I'm just gonna pick it up lightly on my brush and apply it where I don't have the loose powder. Just, you know, my normal format, my normal way of doing things. Oh, those were the days, you know, the thrill of being in an Ulta for the first time. I'll never forget that. That was also Fairview Heights. Definitely had to get near St. Louis to be able to access some of these brands that I just couldn't find down here in Southern Illinois. And now we do have an Ulta, and now we do have Sephora and Kohl's. But at that time it was like, oh my gosh, I'm setting foot inside my first Ulta, and I bought the Too Faced Natural Eye Palette. The first kind with the cardboard packaging. Oh, why are there some memories in my life that are just fleeting, and then stuff like that I can just put myself there. It really meant something to me. Oh, I love makeup. I love makeup and I've never stopped loving makeup. Here's what I picked for my next product that is going to encompass the face steps of bronzer, blush, and highlighter. The Smashbox Cali Contour Palette, still being sold to this day, contains some great products from Smashbox here. You know their contour trio, which is also still being sold, that has like the bronzer, the contour, and the matte powder in it. That's basically in here, plus some highlights, plus a blush. And doesn't it look so like low contrast? But it's going to be pigmented. It's going to give us a good look. So I'm going to go in with my little Sephora angled brush. I'm first going to hit up that bronzer, which, wow, it is super soft. I have not used this in a bit. And I'm going to start adding that bronzer up here where the sun would hit my forehead and just let it warm me up. I love how in that time I felt like, oh my gosh, the news anchors are wearing MAC. Eventually I'll need to get some MAC makeup. And you know, now I could put on a class on how you could get a great broadcast makeup look with fully drugstore stuff. Time brings wisdom. I could sure use some more wisdom in other areas of my life, but I've garnered a fair amount when it comes to makeup, I guess. So I'm just using the bronzer so far. I would take a light bit of that. A lot wants to pick up on my brush. This is a really soft formula, and I'm kind of putting it up here on top of the cheeks, just a little, giving myself a little more color there. And then we have this cool contour color. Look how truly cool that is. I'm gonna take some of that and really get that sort of focused right down here into that hollow of the cheek area. Right in there. See, it's gentle, but it truly does work in there and do something. Kind of combining the two, maybe building a little bit more up in here. Love it, Smashbox, love it. And the pigment on this powder, the softness too, you touch that. And same with the little trio that was like 3 circles of this, this, and this. They're so, so soft. I remember talking with David about, you know, the softness in those because he enjoys that product as well. So the way that powder could gently come up, not that I really need it, but come up on this under eye and dab in some brightness like right there to the sides of the nose. Doesn't take much. Soft and very brightening powder there. Now we need some blush. I'm gonna make you work down here. Okay, let's go. Matte blush, picking some up. Get ready for Dusty Rose, y'all. Look at that. You think that's not gonna give you color, but then you put it on and you're like, yep. That. Old faves might be becoming new faves again. I was in like the corner of the room when Belle was getting her x-rays done yesterday. And don't you always have that urge to like ask the person who's performing the x-ray or whatever it is, like, what do you think? Do you think she's okay? They called me within an hour though. Cheek is looking honestly nice and toasty there. And then we've got highlighters. This probably was my original Real Techniques setting brush. In fact, I know it was. When Real Techniques first came out, you know, the brushes looked like this in various colors on the actual length of the brush, but then at the bottom they had that little black tip that over time got oddly like tacky and weird. I think if you washed it and it got in contact with a lot of water or whatever I was using to wash my brushes with, it turned weird. So I just took it off. And now she's still my little friend. I'm gonna go into that top shade. The shade beneath it is just more of a goldeny highlight, but I can still wear that too. It's, you know, not super dark, just takes a warmer shift. And you got my light shade. Oh yeah. Like, seriously? Dusting off excess, we're gonna buff that in. When I say this is so smooth and like you just turned the lights on, but not like there's actual shimmer sitting there on my face. Oh, thank you, Smashbox. And thank you for not letting this be just a fleeting thing. This is actually a tremendous palette. Plus you got that big mirror. Think about travel. Think about these becoming eyeshadows if you need them to be. I'm pretty certain that they had another shade of that, and I want to make sure that they still do, because obviously that's well suited to a light to medium skin tone. Cali Contour. Yes, they do still have the 2 colors. Okay, see, there's your deeper for my friends in the deeper skin tone range. Can you see what we're looking at here? Deeper colors all around, and even that light powder is going to be more buttery and yellow. Right beside it, they've got these little newer things they've put out, these little 4-piece palettes, head and shoulders above those. Just the formulas in here are perfection. And they're charging only $1 more. $46 for Cali Contour, $45 for the little 4-piece palette that, at least mine, was incredibly inconsistent. Hi, Bisky. Bisky says she cleaned, folks, so I can walk over here again. Oh, you know what I should pull in that I forgot to? Some Urban Decay All-Nighter. Still got my summer solstice version of this, and I've had it for years. I don't care. It's still fine. It still smells good. Trying to not spray it on biscuits. Yep, and just like that, we've slightly taken the edge off of the powderiness, but we still look so full coverage, so finished. Slay. I'm having a blast with this today, by the way. I needed this. For brows, I pulled out my e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil. This is definitely an earlier fave. It doesn't take me quite as far back as some of these products, but still being sold. They've got that waterproof version now. This is the original in the neutral brown shade, but they've got the waterproof that practically feels like a pomade pencil. You know, it's got more richness. It practically holds the brows in place just with itself. But this is the original, and we're looking at a pencil shape that is a little thicker than your Brow Wiz standard skinny pencils. We've got nano, we've got skinny, and we got this guy who is going a little bit thicker, but it's not like a jumbo stick, you know? And it is retractable. And I haven't used it in a while, and I'm just hoping for the best over here. But I have repurchased this product many a time. Neutral brown's a good shade for me. It's dark, but not reddish in the least. I'm loving my Valentine's decor. This looks so cute. When I come up and I first, just in person, and I see that window framed with garland and lights, it just makes me happy. Oh, and clearly I did get a new memory card. That's why I'm able to shoot this video on my camera today. In case you missed it, my last video I had to shoot it all on my phone at a kind of a wonky angle due to the fact that the little switch on the memory card broke off, and my camera said, nope, we can't record. And I said, ope, I need to get a new one. And friends, I did a Walmart delivery order for just that one little thing. On the windiest day of life yesterday, a tiny little memory card was delivered to my doorstep, and I just, like a little troll, just bent down and whisked that thing in the house. Back in business, baby. Yeah, it's what I'm noticing most about this pencil is how areas that I could really easily just reach and get in there and fill in a second with a nano size pencil, I can't with this. Like, I really feel like I'm just kind of drawing on top of hair and hoping for the best. Like, I like to go up just a little higher on this left brow to make it more symmetrical. With the right, I'm trying. I don't know. I think it's time to spoolie through it. Sometimes this helps, sometimes this reveals all your mistakes. Okay, and then for a brow gel, what did I pull in? I think I pulled in, yep, the old fave that gets used on a regular basis, my Express Brow Fast Sculpt. You know the whole story on this. The drugstore's most brilliant brow brush. I'm feeling like maybe I need to try that Maybelline Super Lock stuff, because I hear nothing but raves on the Super Lock brow gel, and it comes in tints too. But I also feel like I've reached the pinnacle with this brush. Like, what's the point? Let me know if you think I need to branch out. There's a few things I'm really loyal to. You dig? I think it went pretty well. Made the best of it, but realizing this is just not my favorite style of pencil anymore. This added a little tint, and I think might have filled in some spots where I needed the extra. This old girl gets to come into play, and I'm gonna need to repurchase that soon, I think. But I always say that, and then there's always like more in the tube, because I use literally this much of the product, like a teensy bead of the product. The moment I feel like, oh, I'm about to run out of Milani eyeshadow primer, that's like my 3-month warning there. I'm gonna be using this tube for another 3 months, I bet. Mark my words. She said it on January 15th. Oh, did anybody notice that Dimitri von Leuschner is back on Days of Our Lives? The way that man speaks. I was helping the girls get ready for bed the other night, and I said, I'm gonna, for the remainder of the evening, talk like Dimitri von Leuschner. Remember that line he had the last time he was on the show? I will sing like a canary. This is always good. We always love her. There's no question. What palette did I pull out? I could have gone many different directions here. I went for something that I truly want to get back into, and something that I actually laid eyes on when I was in Ulta on my birthday, and I was looking around at stuff, and I was getting kind of disappointed at the lack of eyeshadow palettes, but I did cross through the little Clinique area, and I was noting how, oh my gosh, I love Clinique duos. You know, big fan. Got a lot of Clinique duos in my collection. Talk about a long-standing product, a product that's not put out for a few months and then getting the boot. No. that stuff has been around. And they also have these lovely little palettes here. This is the Best of Black Honey palette. I have this. I, at one point in time, really enjoyed this, and I want to enjoy it again. And my shirt today might be the exact vibe of the plumminess of that shade right there. Like, that is my shirt color today. I noticed on the Macy's website, I think Clinique's got a whole set of Black Honey things. But yeah, this was the one I wanted to use. I wanted to get back into it. There's a lot of palettes I could pull into this video that I loved, that I'd love to explore again, but are definitely discontinued products. I wanted to use something still being sold that I genuinely wanted to get back in touch with again. So yes, it is currently called the Best of Black Honey All About Shadow palette. But there was another one that I saw. I actually thought about getting it, but I went for the Ulta brand. I want to say it was Nude Honey or something. Why is it not coming up? A Nude Honey Mood All About Shadow palette. Yeah, I would like to try that. And then they've got the Pink Honey Affair as well, which I do think I still have Pink Honey Affair. Oh, I've got this quad too, Morning Java. Still being sold. Actually not seeing any Pink Honey in my stash. But we're gonna use this today, friends. We're gonna fall back in love with this. What a compact palette. How many shades we got? 3, 6, 8. When you really get looking at it, you think, well, that's just a little matte, that's a matte. No, there's a little satininess in a couple of these mid-tones. I'm gonna jump to this one with my crease brush. Love the mirror too. This is compact, and these are all shades that I like. And I think I got this in the era where I was really just absolutely loving Clinique duos, and I still love them. That answers the question for those wondering, like, what are your favorite duos? Clinique. They're great. They've got some terrific color combos, great quality, easy to use, but we're just creasing it up here. And you know how we do, we're going to take that taller, higher as well. Make sure to give yourself lift, even in a subtle way. Eyeshadow can do so much, even just a mid-tone that's extending past your crease. Like, that can do something for the actual look of your face. Dee-dee-dee. And what about that satin finish you saw, Em? Yeah, I'm still seeing it, but it's soft because I'm like blending it out. I'm not packing it on. Little matte cream at the end. Let's do her. Same brush. What's the big deal? Just put it under the brow. I'm in a mode today, friends. In one of those modes. We got to pull in one of these dark shadows, and it's going to be you right there, this plummy one. They've all got names, by the way. Oh my gosh, I remember this. They literally put as the name of some of these, Dark Shade from Strawberry Fudge Duo, Light Shade from Strawberry Fudge Duo. And then some of them just are like Sahara Sun, Chocolate Covered Cherry, Dark Shade from Ivory Bisque Bronze Satin Duo. The pureness of heart in actually just straight up telling us exactly where these shadows came from. Like, we should be supporting this. I love that so much because you know, if you're an avid shadow user and a brand puts something out, we do have that instinct to say, like, did they just repeat the shade from blank? And here they're straight up telling you exactly where things came from. I love that. Okay, this color here, nice and rich, nice and plummy. Picking it up with my flat brush. Oh, the pigment. Oh, the pigment. Morpheum 303 is just taking this one for a ride all over my lid. Not really the entire lid, but definitely 2/3 of the outer part. Flip the brush, let it rise up. I'm gonna come in there with the crease brush probably to blend that out more, but my word. I can tell you right now, this is one of the hits of the video. What's coming back for regular usage? This. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it, Cosmetics CC Cream, and see, you know, get a refresher on how that actually wears on my skin for a whole day. But I'm not immediately like, oh my gosh, this is sending me, you know, over the edge. Like, I'm gonna be reaching for this over my new Maybelline foundation. Not necessarily. Okay, we're just putting it on. We're just kind of sculpting the shape. We do have a dark brown in there as well. But there we go with that. I would come back with that crease brush I first used and just act like you're putting shadow in your crease, but what you're really doing is just blending this shade, making it be part of things. Frankly, I think this is shaping up to be just a great little wintertime palette. Coolness, the depth. There's a lot of people posting about like 2016 makeup, like take me back to those days when we had these fun palettes and people were doing looks like this. And I just feel like, I don't know, I don't think my makeup style is really truly 2016 right now, but if you're just talking about eyeshadow palettes, I've never stopped loving eyeshadow palettes, so I don't feel that far from the era, I guess. That looks good. It's blending out with ease, my friends. I kind of want to use the sponge tip. I actually have a fully clean portion of the sponge tip that I say we use today. She's been waiting for her moment for years. I'm going to take the light shade from the Strawberry Fudge Duo, and that always comes off a little goldeny. It just has that shift, but I'm going to use my little friend, the sponge tip, and pat it on that inner third of my lid. It just comes off pearly. It's not overboard shimmer, guys. Have fun with your makeup. Use the stuff you haven't used in a while. Bring back memories. Bring back the fun. It's actually so opaque that it went over my plum more than I wanted it to. Yeah, the audacity. Actually, it looks like what's being sold currently in these little like Skinny Clinique palettes. There are 3. Pink Honey Affair, this one, Best of Black Honey, and a Nude Honey Mood. They're being sold with a part sponge tip and then a brush at the other end. Like that could be just your blending brush. But here's what we gotta do. We have to come back in with Plum. We have to show this light shimmer who's boss a little bit, keep her in her lane, and just come in and overlap gently from the outside. Okay? That's okay. I have to do that quite a bit with things. Sometimes your shimmer just comes on a little too strong. My shirt might have a tinge more reddishness, a tinge more burgundy in it than this straight plum that I'm putting on my eyes right now, just in case, I don't know, it's showing. Yeah, I feel like we fully crushed it with that eye look. I could take some shadow on the lower lash line. If it's pigmented, if you feel like it's gonna adhere, you know, not every shadow is gonna cause you trouble down here, but I would also kind of create that little powder fence underneath. I'm gonna take the dark brown, just here. Nice, soft, but yet rich. Here's what I meant by like a fence. Get a little something. It doesn't have to be loose powder. In fact, for me, it's often Kosas Cloud Set, but that's just too new school for this video. So I'm taking a little bit on this kind of chunky brush that I have, that I reserved for this specific purpose. And anytime something's going down there that's not like a long wearing setting shadow stick, I just do this. Something about that helps with oils that must just secrete and cause things to drift down just a little bit. We don't want any drifting. We won't allow it. I'm not gonna even play with liner over this look. I love this look and I don't even wanna really affect it that much. So I pulled out a couple of mascaras. They're both things that have been repurchased. They're not originals, of course, but they just don't go back as far as a lot of the products in this video. But in terms of what I have on hand, this is as oldie as it gets. I got my Estee Lauder Little Black Primer. I thought, let's use that today. And then coat it up with CoverGirl Exhibitionist Stretch and Strengthen, another fave of recent years. So if you're not familiar with Little Black Primer, what that does, it's very good about freezing curl in your lashes and kind of like texturizing your lashes for the mascara that is to come. If you've ever put on a mascara and you felt like this is literally just slipping through my lashes, nothing is hanging on, everything's taking a really long time to build. Some formulas are just like that, but you put Little Black Primer on first, it gives your lashes some kind of texture for the mascara to come and build upon. And it's black, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, I've got this white primer on and now I've got to cover every little thing. It's a beautiful product and the brush is just little and curved and you put it on. It doesn't look like much once it's on, but it doesn't have to. It's still doing a job here, okay? It's acting like hairspray for that curl, and then like I said, just giving a little bit of texture. Man, my lashes seemed extra snuffleupagus when I went to curl this side. Must have slept on that side and just, I don't know, straightened them out. You know how Snuffy's lashes are? They just kind of hang. Just get in there. It's, again, you're not doing it wrong if it doesn't look like much. It's doing something, I promise. I just try to make sure I'm going in the vicinity of all those lashes, and that coat is done. Oh, did I get it on my nose? Yes, I did. SIU lost a heartbreaker against Drake last night. One of those games where they seemed so in control for most of the game. Lost the lead, went into overtime, and lost the game. Now that I've scraped makeup off my nose, I have to replace that makeup. The thing that's maybe changed about some makeup products is I feel like I've used It Cosmetics CC cream in this video and a couple other high-end things. I think what the drugstore has done is over like the last 10-15 years, the formulas have become more advanced. Things are looking more skin-like, things are able to look more sneaky, things are able to give you a high coverage look without a high makeup look. And that's maybe part of why you don't have to stick with your old high-end faves all the time, because things are moving and shaking in the drugstore these days. Okay, Exhibitionist Stretch and Strengthen. That is a brush that's going to come off with some stuff on it. That little black primer is being small but mighty and holding up that curl for us, so we will be able to see the thickening of this bad boy right here. See that? Thick. This Exhibitionist right now, though, is really wanting to smush some lashes together. But other than that, this is going well. This is doing what I hoped it would. What that little black primer is doing for the full length of my lashes, it's a lot. This mascara alone would not build it this fast. Okay, I always feel like editing the mascara part is tedious, so I'm gonna maybe stop here, add one more coat, and come back. Guys, my lashes have gotten big. That's one coat of little black primer plus 2 coats of Exhibitionist Stretch and Strengthen, and I did sneak on a little lash extender on the lower lashes. Honestly feeling great about that lash look. Now for lips. I went through what I had in my drawers and I pulled out some older faves that are still very much things I currently love, but maybe I don't reach for as much. I look at some very friend of mine products that I've got right here, and I've got like some current lipsticks I'm loving. I've got some stains and some lip plumpers and some lip balm tubes. But what about these? The Superstay Matte Ink crayons that go on, and they're fully pigmented formula. Almost feels like it's melting down on your lips just a touch, and feeling so comfortable but being so long wearing. And in the midst of new e.l.f. lip plumpers, what about the Milani Keep It Full? You know, Milani Keep It Full in Soft Rose, that true nude lip gloss. It is pigmented, it does have opacity, it doesn't sting your lips, but it feels like a buxom. What happened to those things? So I'm gonna use a little combo of these today. I'm gonna use this one called Trust Your Gut. Okay, I'm gonna fill in everywhere with this. I just love the smell of them too. Couldn't tell you what that smell is, but it's soft and it's good. Underrated nude lip right there. Cool nude. Okay. Trust your gut. I trusted my gut and I got Bell X-rayed and it was for the best. This is everyone's favorite Live on the Edge, or just my favorite. This I'm gonna just give myself a little definition with. The shape is so good. Like, after you've been using one of these for a while, you get the perfect little slant to it because it does come formed to a tip when it's brand new. I love Live on the Edge. I would let Live on the Edge babysit my children. That combo. We left a lot of Trust Your Gut showing here. It's thicker than a lip liner, so it can do that. It can go around the outside and stay soft. So that's the 1-2 punch there. And then we come on with, again, this is called Soft Rose, but this is essentially a nude gloss from Milani here. Keep It Full is the range. Then they came out with all the stingy stuff. They said, you want it to hurt? And I said, no. I like this, the cooling sensation, more like buxom. A true nude gloss, and I'm kind of not wanting it to go on too heavy, so I'm pacing it. But I'm into that. I'm into the way this whole look came together. Yeah, so why did we move on from certain makeup products? As the kids are saying these days, this eats. Couple things in this video, I think, sent this look over the edge, sent it over the top, because on the coverage products, I do love this, and I still use this with regularity. I don't use this with much regularity. This gave us beautiful coverage, yes. I'm gonna keep an eye on the staying power all day, but there's so many other things that could take me to that strong medium coverage place these days in the drugstore. So I'm kind of not feeling like, oh my gosh, it was all about the CC cream. I don't think so. Likewise, kind of on loose powder, you know, this is a great loose powder. I do love it, but plenty of good loose powders. Now, same with the photo finish, although, like I said, it was part of the base. I will consider what it's doing in terms of staying power, help or not help, but the base products aren't really what's sending me here. It's really the palettes. The Cali Contour. I mean, the moment that highlighter hit, the soft bronze and contour that really is just making sense on my skin right now, that beautiful Dusty Rose blush, that's pulling me in once again. For sure. Also, this, the Clinique Best of Black Honey. I'm ready to fall in love again. I adore that soft plumminess just emerging from my lid space here. I'm obsessed with that. I love Brow Fast Sculpt, we know that. This Kind of glad to have moved on from the instant lift phase of my life, but I'll still use it from time to time. You know, Mac, what about this one? She went all over, she added a little coverage, but what I have learned is there are drugstore powders that can feel every bit as soft and buttery. I'm looking at you, Maybelline Superstay Hybrid Powder Foundation. It doesn't have to be MAC. These two impressed me. This combo also impressed me. And I'm loving the lip, and I'm just loving kind of rediscovering Superstay Matte Ink crayons and the way they do the work of a liner faster and in a softer, more immediately blended look. So why are we not like working these into more lip combos? Why is it all about the liner and then the gloss or the lip plumper or the lip oil? These should be basing more looks. That is my takeaway, friends. Those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a blast today with this video. I hope you will look into your own stash and think, are there old favorites in here that I should really just try out again just to see? Let me know in the comments section, and I will see you all again very soon. I love you. Bye.